Kanpai! You know, this is our second attempt at this. Last time I forgot to get the beer. Oh, yeah. This time I forgot to get the beer too.
Maybe you're just
dramatic writing parallels. That's what it is. We script these things for a reason. So, hello and welcome everybody to episode 105 of Kanpai Cast, where today we'll be doing the one heroic moment, or the defining heroic moment. Before we start in on that, we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping, which is the usual thing of join the Discord server, memes, chatting, good old anime vibe. The links for that are in the description, as are links to our social media, to Xeno's other Discord, and to the different streaming platforms. Streams on YouTube and Nasuth streams on Twitch. Please come along and join us. And there are fantastic little bits that we do. We love reading your comments, and we will feature some of them on the show. And we will even feature specifically up to 6 of the viewer-submitted memes from the Kanpai Cast Discord, which I think we have to look forward to some of them this week. Certainly do hope so. Right, I think that is everything for the brief housekeeping.
I just remember distinctly me screaming at Nasuth. I think it was last Monday to get the this week's doc ready. So we catalog all the memes and everything.
Yes.
I was like, Nasuth, I need the doc. Nasuth, I need the doc. Nasuth, you know the doc. Nasuth, I need the doc.
I need the doc so bad. You don't understand how badly I need the doc.
I need the doc so bad right now.
He was so excited for this meme.
I'm really hoping you guys enjoy my sick meme.
We always do. Still,
I hope it doesn't even register. So that. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, wow, you're a dick.
I'm kidding.
Yes, we just put a blanket. Right. Yeah. Nasuth, that was just so bad that Xeno's called the police. Now, so on to this week's topic. Our topic today.
Wow.
Once the sirens are done, Xeno, you've really gone all in on that.
No, I mean, you can just keep going because he doesn't pick up on my end whatsoever.
Okay, fair enough.
And his audio is what we use, that is true. Yeah.
That's very true. So, topic primer for this week. We recently, a while back on YouTube, there was a lovely little feature where a bunch of content creators each picked a heroic and a villainous scene to go into. And we thought that enough time's passed, why don't we give it a try ourselves? Because it's all very well to do movies, but series are often a little bit more complicated. And so finding a defining heroic scene for a series can be actually surprisingly deep. It took me quite a while to come up with some of my examples. And I know that Xeno and Nasuth are still having a look at theirs later on in the week. So the point is to find a moment that you can describe as truly emblematic of either the show or the character. Something that just stands out above the rest of the series, the rest of the show, as being truly heroic and making it worthwhile having seen the build-up to this so far. The payoff for a big moment, or something that stays with you even after the show is long gone.
Well, I wish you'd gone into that much detail when you know.
No, I can't. No, I mean, to be honest, part of me is like, I'm glad we're having this second chance at doing this and everything, because I felt like I was still trying to find my footing and everything the first time we attempted this. But I think also towards the end, we'll probably say what it means. To us, why did we pick these things? What is the big crowning thing that really makes a heroic moment for ourselves? In these different shows and things, because loads of people I can readily imagine would pick someone like Kirito or Saitama or Goku or things like that. But to me, those aren't heroic moments. Those are just scripted events.
Yes,
but I think we'll get into that after we've spoken about all our different anime choices.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, I think I went first the first time. I'm happy to do it again because it kind of segued nicely into Nasuth's one. However, I can't remember how we did that, so I'm just going to keep going.
No,
right.
I think that rather than just sliding between them, if we introduce them as a which show it's from, and what we would nickname the scene. For example, one of my, like the villainous scene I keep coming back to is the one from Castlevania with "You must be the Belmont," and that scene.
What does that mean?
It's what they nicknamed the scene, and it's the one quote from Dracula when Trevor Belmont punched him in the face, and then it doesn't react. He just seems to come back to himself as the full Dracula, master of evil kind of thing, as he's confronted with a known enemy to fight instead of the things that he's been doing so far. And it was a great payoff to the drama and the build-up that we had for that show.
Right.
So, similarly, I was thinking that... No? Just...
I could try.
Oh,
I could try. So, the moment I'm going to talk about. So this is spoilerific, right? I think the majority of them will probably be heavily spoiled. So if there's any show that we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3. If you have any intention of watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, pause. Before you pause, go have a look in the description and see like which
shows you don't mind having ruined, or which ones you've already seen, or
exactly. So
there will be timestamps, so you can skip shows that you don't want to see, don't want to be spoiled.
Spoilers. Right. So giving you enough opportunity now. Talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I think the title of this moment is "Fuck it, I'm gonna die anyway," right? Which is effectively when the team are fighting Dio for the first time. They're outside, they're out on rooftops and everything, and Dio is thoroughly kicking ass, right? And no one has any idea what the fuck his stand ability is, right?
See, I would name this moment "No greater love hath a man." Just putting it out there, because it's a Bible quote. No greater love hath a man than that he give his life for his brother.
I have no idea what any of that means, but not making this religious.
Oh, okay.
Continue on, right?
Okay, fine.
My fucking name, fucking gonna die anyway.
Fine.
That's what's the true line in the Bible anyway.
Uncultured swine.
Slime. Yeah, okay.
Uncultured
we haven't got
slime
on this. Anyway, right. So the whole point is that they're trying to work out what Dio's ability is, and Dio has called out Kakyoin, right? And Kakyoin to me is the hero in this series, like the defining hero, because Kakyoin can do things at this moment to try and defend himself, or run away, or just try and fight Dio head on, right? But he does what he can to basically tell everyone else what Dio's ability truly is. Yeah? And that to me is like a sacrifice which is worth taking note of. Obviously in part 3, if you've watched part 3, you'll understand this. We have the death of Avdol and Iggy prior to Kakyoin's, right? However, right, Avdol was just blindsided. He was trying to protect Polnareff, but didn't realize that was going to lead to his death. And Iggy was dying anyway, and tried to take out Vanilla Ice, and ultimately, just died because of Vanilla Ice's sound. I can't remember what his bloody sound was called. And yeah, it was so for me, Kakyoin actively choosing to spend his last moments trying to reveal to Jotaro and Joseph what Dio's ability was, that to me is a sacrifice worth noting. That is a hero moment, heroic moment.
Agreed. So, and of course, I think you mentioned last time that it stands out so much more because by comparison, the fact that you can get, there would have been so much more ahead of this character. There would have been stories to tell with him.
Yeah.
It kind of hits the audience even harder because of the loss of not just who that person is, but all the potential as well.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, right? A lot of characters in a lot of fiction, they're written to effectively be the motivation for the main character, right? Their death, they're just leading to this death, their own demise, as they are a side character, only to inspire the main character to do better. And that is something that I dislike massively. It's basically life is a giant scripted event, and this is why the likes of Goku, being like a hero and everything, it doesn't appeal to me, because like even if he dies, he can get better, right? He's come back from death more times than Jesus.
A Monty Python sketch.
Huh?
So it's like a Monty Python sketch.
Exactly.
Frieza killed him. I said, yeah, but I got better.
Yeah. And there's loads of stuff like this, right? So the fact that characters, and this again is like one of the like most engaging things about a JoJo series, is the fact that it resets, right? With each new part, it's a new generation. So like when they become ridiculously strong, they don't have to worry about how the fuck are we going to continue this further.
Except for Jotaro, who did continue and somehow just got weaker. He just didn't practice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, but regardless of that,
he Gohan'd.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, he became a marine biologist. But the whole point is that Kakyoin, he sacrifices himself, and I think
I kind of want to. I don't want to push back exactly, but
no, do go on.
It's not exactly pushback. I see similarities to Iggy because both of them knew they were going to die. I think the important difference is Iggy wanted revenge. Iggy's motivations were more revenge than self-sacrifice. Like he wanted to take Vanilla Ice with him because he was already already screwed. Whereas Kakyoin sees that he's screwed and is like, how can I make this advantageous for everyone else?
Yeah, and
exactly.
that's the big thing. It's a case of like, so Iggy was dying. Iggy had been horrifically injured, right, by Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
And Iggy was trying to help Polnareff because, again, Polnareff had been severely injured as well. What could Iggy do? So on and so forth. Iggy was just trying to take Vanilla Ice out with him.
Yeah.
Whereas Kakyoin had multiple options, right? He could have tried to run away. He could have tried to defend himself. He could have tried to attack Dio, right? But he basically went, fuck it, I'm gonna die anyway. Let's reveal to the other members of my group what Dio's ability is.
Yeah.
Right? And that is the thing that really makes Kakyoin stand out from all the others.
Yeah.
It's the noble sacrifice rather than just the self-sacrifice.
Yes.
Exactly. It hits that much harder. So So Nasuth, do you want to go or shall I? Because you had a good one.
Well, you say I have a good one. I mean, it's Shield Hero Season 2, and I've kind of tried to go for more unconventional ones rather than just as you described it. And part of me wants to say that the actual heroic moment in this is Ost leaving the story so good things can actually happen. So she can stop being a distraction.
Okay.
Who's there to do nothing. But I I would actually say, as badly, I think this is more of an example of a bad heroic moment than like it's a moment that's supposed to be heroic. It's supposed to define her character. When she essentially says, "Yes, you're gonna have to do this anyway, even though it's gonna lead to my death." But it's essentially Xeno's moment. It's almost exactly Xeno's moment. You know, she has this knowledge, and she will pass it on. She will sacrifice herself for the betterment of the crew, because she is
handled worse.
It's just handled horribly. There's no setup at all. We're talking about how this is supposed to be a defining. You said there's like supposed to be setup for this. You know, how does the setup matter? And obviously there is so much more to Ost's story. And they could have built this up better so that the Shield hero got to know her, you know, at all.
Yeah.
And they just said, nah.
I think that's part of the problem, is the fact that, you know, a lot of the time, like Ost, a character that's going to die does not get much in terms of screen time. We're not going to waste time on this character, because they're going to die, and the audience is not going to feel attached to them, because, you know, so let's not bother putting. And it's like, that is the worst reason to do that, because the death is meaningless, right?
Indeed.
She's trying to do the same thing like Kakyoin did, right, or a very similar thing to what Kakyoin did, but because we spend no time with her, like it's like, who is this? Who is this woman? Like, what's going on here? I don't understand.
It's like bodyguard number 6 going get down with the president in a movie and getting shot first, and we never knew who that person was. He might have a family, but for
imagine
all the
if we
importance I had it.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, imagine if we'd had the time.
Yeah.
Imagine if we'd seen a similar journey to Jojo, where she became a part of the Shield Heroes team, and they actually went around and worked together, and she became an invaluable member. You know, it would become as impossible to imagine her not in the team as to imagine Philo or Raphtalia not in the team before they kill her, and they don't come anywhere near that.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say this. Sorry, Thaylien. It's interesting that you say this. It's really interesting you say this, because like I remember watching season 2 and the part where
you know or care about this girl.
Which one?
The other girl that dresses in the monk girl. Yeah. Still don't really know or care about her either. You know, that's another problem.
Okay, so
but this is not that Shield Hero. Sorry. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I remember in season 2 when, you know, the team is in the other world, and Raphtalia gets separated from Naofumi and the rest of the gang, and like my heart sank, right? I was just like, no, you fucking go back and get her right the fuck now, right? You fucking dial home and just go back and get her. I don't fucking care. You fucking do that bitch now.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Because she's so invaluable. She's such an integral part of the team, of the dynamic, of everything.
Yeah. Yes. She's part of the effective family.
Yeah.
This is what I was going to say, is somebody pointed out that if you really want to make a character's death hurt the audience, there are 2 little key things when you kill them off. One is that they must not be at the end of their story.
Yeah.
And the other is they must be fighting against the thing. What kills them must be the thing that they were fighting against the whole time, whether emotionally or physically. Okay, so in the same way of say, well, no, it's a thing. This is one of those things. It's a more sweeping statement than there's a lot more nuance to it.
Yeah,
but take Ost. Ost is trying to ostensibly she's there to prevent the Spirit Tortoise from doing what it's supposed to be doing. Right, and she's fighting against that the whole time, and she's going to sacrifice herself to prevent that happening. But if you had the story make it so that she's actually doing that another way the entire time.
See, I don't know.
She's working towards a different way of doing that in a way that would let her live. Then turning round and having a desperation moment, have her sacrifice herself against it like this. It would have actually felt more meaningful.
I would say not her. No, don't have her have this more fatalistic attitude of, I know where this is going to end up. Okay. But have the shield hero and everyone else fight against that outcome.
And
like, they're searching for a different way. And yes.
So what she's fighting against really isn't the fatalistic, isn't really the turtles of it, it's the fatalistic nature that she's developed towards knowing she's going to have that end. Give her that hope that it isn't going to end that way, and then it would hurt. Then it would have meaning. So, yeah.
But either way, regardless, they just these are things they could have done, but they decided to just go. Yeah, telling us that it's a heroic death isn't the same as showing us a heroic death. As actually, yeah. Shall we move on to Thaylien?
Okay. Yeah, go on, Thaylien. Pick on.
Okay. I was going to go to start off with one of the most almost cliche heroic moments that I could find. Okay. And this is Bleach breaking the scaffold.
Oh yeah, I didn't give that a name. I guess if I gave that one a name, it would be screwing the pooch.
Waste of space.
Waste of space.
The waste of Ost.
Yeah.
So in Bleach, the Soul Society arc is one of the most simple but really well-paced shonen anime arcs I've seen. We've come off the back of the original arc where Ichigo meets Rukia, shenanigans happen, and everything changed when the Hot People attacked. Two Shinigami turn up and take Rukia back to Soul Society for the crime of letting a human have access to Shinigami powers. Ichigo gets bodied, being stabbed by Byakuya, and being forced to recover before he can go save her, so it sets up the delay. And the arc is all about saving Rukia, taking the now healed Ichigo, Chad, Orihime, and Ishida to Soul Society to fight their way through defenses, through the guard squads to find their friend. And we see a lot of growth from all of them, but of course Ichigo gets the off-screen dramatic boost power-up. And after his fight with one of the strongest captains, he gets taken off to learn Bankai, which he does almost entirely off-screen. We see some of that. But the day his training's set to end, whether he has Bankai or not, is the day that Rukia is going to be executed. The scene in question is built up on not whether she's going to be saved, whether a rescue attempt happened, but who's going to get there and who's going to do the fighting. So all of Rukia's friends are rushing to the scene, from Renji, who's her best friend, the group from the human world, her mentor, Captain Ukitake, and there's not a single shot of Ichigo in that build-up during the episode. And there are captain and lieutenant class Shinigami in attendance, and the captain commander's even promising Rukia, if you go through the execution, your friends will not be harmed. And so she goes off, like, almost peacefully accepting it. And the thing is that nobody seems to get there. The execution's about to happen. There's a great big fiery phoenix about to stab Rukia in the chest, and nothing's about to stop it until this unblockable blade is blocked. And we're allowed to see the scene in stages. The first thing we see is from Rukia's perspective, opening her eyes with the music going a bit backgroundy and odd, as she sees Ichigo standing calmly between her and this giant magical firebird. And he just says, yo. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without Rukia going all tsundere and going, you absolute idiot, why the fuck are you here? And we're allowed to see that. It plays out. And after that, we then see the outside perspective, the captains. We see it from one of the captains' perspective. As you see that Ichigo is actually holding his sword behind his back and blocking this supposedly unblockable strike. And you see her go, wait, that's impossible. Right? Classic kind of shonen thing. But we see that, from everybody seeing this thing, the confusion, even the Firebird itself is confused and backs up. And in that moment, Ichigo can move again, and he jumps to the top of the scaffold and says, now, I'm going to destroy this thing. It's a bit like what the fuckery from everybody else, and he does just that. He destroys this thing that is designed as a twin to the unblockable blade. It's the one thing you can't destroy. And he blows it apart. And as the dust settles, you see him standing on the remains of it, holding Rukia under his arm like a sack of potatoes. And that's where it kind of really hits that scene. You see Ichigo has just done two impossible things. He's blocked the unblockable strike, destroyed the undestroyable object. And it kicks off a bit from there. Her mentor, Rukia's mentor, Ukitake, arrives and uses a magical device to destroy the Firebird, so it can't attack again. Renji arrives and starts shouting about, what's going on, and Ichigo throws Rukia straight to him like a fastball special and tells him to run for it. And that's when the fight will actually start. The little fight that teenagers will wet their pants over for years to come. But that's not the point of this scene. What Bleach does is these reveal moments. It's these hype moments where the character declares something they're going to do, no matter who or what stands against them, and accomplishes something that's impossible. While Ichigo follows the tropes of the shonen protagonist, the power-ups and everything else, the power of friendship, he's not like the rest of them. He's thoughtful, he's friendly, he's not gregarious, he's a bit insular, and he needs somebody to come in and shake him up, which Rukia did. And he's the introvert that the extrovert adopted. And it shows in these scenes. You see Ichigo calm, collected, and determined in this. Not showing off. He doesn't even, recognize the captains that are arrayed against him. And in the fight that follows, he shows that he's got the power to do that. But in this scene, showing up on time to save the girl is the most classic of heroic moments, and that's what Bleach does well.
So it's interesting how you're saying this, like, I'm going to say something, you may or may not like it, but feel free to tear anything I say to pieces, but that moment feels insanely cliched to me.
Yeah.
It's the fact that he turns up.
That doesn't necessarily mean
it's okay. Yes, it is a cliche. That's the point, is that Bleach does these cliche moments well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to me, like, I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time, to me, it feels like there was no threat of this person ever, Rukia ever dying. Right? There was no threat of Ichigo. Well, I don't understand how that is a heroic moment when you know that there's no way they could lose.
Because it didn't have to be Ichigo. It didn't have to be Ichigo. They did the build-up of all the other people showing up. Okay, all the other people running to the scene. Ukitake could have saved her with the device that blew apart the Firebird. Okay, and he then diverted off some of the captains to fight with him because he betrayed them. Renji could have saved her. Okay, the other group from Earth that Ichigo brought with him could have distracted them long enough for Ichigo to show up. But that's the thing. Because of that build-up, the scene itself that happened, we saw more of the character than we did of the action. The action scene happens later. The moment is the way that it switches from a character about to embrace the nihilistic death to this calm and collected moment.
It's less about what we, the audience, know, and more about what the characters are going through, what the characters know.
Exactly.
And the characters don't know that she's safe. Or what? She, Rukia.
Yes, Rukia.
She. So like to them, this is a moment of heroism. To us, the audience, especially an older audience who's seen all this before, it's cliched. It's cliched as fuck. But to the characters, this is a very like impactful, important development moment.
No, looking back on it as an adult, as somebody who saw it when it came out and was very hyped for it, you see how it was all building up to a fight. But I believe the more important moment is that moment where the dramatic tension is completely broken by the scene of Ichigo standing between Rukia and the Firebird, just standing, able to say to her, "Yo, how you doing?" And she is able to come back to herself. She's no longer, in self-sacrifice mode. She is back to being tsundere. You absolute idiot! Why did you come to save me? I thought I was saving you.
Yeah, it's the suddenness of the turnaround.
Yes, and it's back to this interaction that we see here after a whole season.
Contrast that with Goku going Super Saiyan, right?
Yeah.
There was never that moment. Like it was played completely straight the entire time. There was never that moment of like, oh, here's a little dose of comedy to show that the characters are still themselves. It was immediately Goku is in full serious mode and everyone else has to get out.
Yes.
It was
Hell, Team 4-Star even parody that with Gohan saying, "This is unusual for you." It's like, where should he be? The ship? The ship. Yeah. So it's okay, it is cliche, but it's like the most iconic. This is the reason that everything else is a cliche, because this did it so well first.
I suppose.
And then I don't know about that. Else isn't. I feel that other shows have been trying to imitate it and failing.
Right, should we move on?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna pick up a bit of an odd one.
What was it? Is it GunBuster?
It is GunBuster.
Oh, as soon as you said odd one, I knew it. Okay.
So the big thing, what's called the big heroic moment for this is where our main protagonist scene here, Noriko Takia, basically ends up sacrificing, not so much her present,
sacrifices her
life.
Present.
Yeah, like her present, her moment in the present, right? What's it called? Just to save humanity, right? And the big thing is that everyone she knows and loves has been dead for hundreds, if not thousands, of years.
I want to say it's a couple thousand years or something.
No, I think we actually sat down and did the maths, and it was like 12,000 years.
Yeah,
17,000 years. So basically, the whole big thing about GunBuster is its grounding in the law of relativity, right? So the faster you get, the closer you get to speed of light, the more time is distorted in things, and as a result, time for you is slower compared to time for everyone else. So when they are traveling at the speed of light, I think they're doing it for 5 minutes in the second episode, and 6 months have gone by.
Yeah, it's so cool how like they sit down and talk you through because they have to.
Yeah, they really do. But the whole point is, we have this schoolgirl, right? We have this kid who just wants to be a regular teenage kid, who is effectively pulled into a military situation that she doesn't fully comprehend. And, when the first major battle happens around her, I think it's like episode 3 or 4, she's completely lost. She has no idea what the fuck's going on. And the next moment, people that she was talking with not hours beforehand are gone. So she's thrust into this situation. But the thing is, she doesn't let it break her. In fact, she plays the ultimate sacrifice in saying, like, she's basically going to be the key figure in fighting this galactic war. And by the time that the war is over, by the time that they win, she finally gets back to Earth. Everyone they know is long dead.
She sacrifices herself for an Earth that she's not even sure will be there when she gets home, right? Because in 1,000 years, they could kill themselves. Forget the aliens. They could kill themselves.
Humanity could have just offed itself.
But she does it anyway. Because it is the right, it is the noble and right thing to do.
And this is why I wanted to pick her, is because it felt like, that not only is there a sacrifice of life, but there is also a sacrifice of living. Like the life that you would have had, right?
Yeah. And
I think it's so interesting watching her. It's only 6 episodes long, right? If you haven't seen GunBuster, just go watch it. Hideki Anno, was director for the series, and it's like probably his best work. And but it's 6 episodes. You're gonna watch it for like 3 hours tops. It goes at breakneck speed. It's fucking incredible, right?
Breakneck speeds. It's kind of weird because the first episode or 2 are kind of slow, and then it's
the first episode is slow.
The first episode, especially, for sure.
Yeah,
and then it
every episode progressively
security. Yeah, every episode progressively gets like crazier and crazier until we're at episode 6, and now we're like just careening off the side. It's so crazy.
Just to point out to you, all these screenshots have been getting fairly tame to wacky as fuck. Right?
Yeah.
These are the first 3 episodes. Right, I don't pick anything out of so this is the first 3 episodes, and it is just like, what? And, I can't help but say, like, look how cool that animation looks. That animation is so smooth.
Look at that old halogen color display.
Yeah. So,
good choice. Good choice.
I mean, granted, nothing stops her from having a life, after the war's over. But
come on, that's going to be some...
Imagine somebody from 1,000 years ago coming to our time. Their life is going to be a lot of... Well, to be fair, we see it in the show, and the world doesn't seem that different. But it could have been... It could have been vastly different.
It just makes me think of Futurama. Like, either, Fry's going to adapt to life in the year 3000 really easily, or not.
It's going to end up in a booth. Right.
No, it's strange, but still. What do you got for us, Nasuth?
Let's go ahead and get level 1 Demon Lord out of the way. Okay. I say get it out of the way because we did just cover this in the review episode, so I don't have a huge amount to say here that I didn't say there, but I still wanted to kind of highlight it because there is this build-up that Thaylien was kind of talking about, where we see the tensions between these two nations so slowly taking more and more of a center stage, and they keep talking about how he could be the deciding factor, and he does. The last thing he wants to do is get involved again, because the last time he tried, it turned out really kind of badly. Like it seemed good, but in the aftermath, really wasn't that good.
You need to give way more detail, dude, because I'm like, who did what and the how now?
Okay, so the last time Max, the hero, got involved, aka by being the hero and killing the Demon Lord. He essentially set up the stage where now we have the Kingdom and the Republic. And the Republic was set up by the Kingdom to essentially expand their... now that the Kingdom has achieved victory, the next logical goal, obviously, is for them to extend their power, as humans are wont to do. And they did this by sending a bunch of people to this really uninhabited region, where they turned it into kind of turned it into a paradise, and found this really, expensive ore. And the Kingdom just wanted to kind of come in and take it all away, and not give them anything for their hard work. And so that starts setting up this conflict between the Kingdom and the Republic, right? And the Republic is like, all you have to do is just acknowledge that we did this work, and let us keep doing it, and we'll gladly be part of the Kingdom. But it's a kingdom yet. So it sets up this conflict between those two, and the hero Max is here in the middle, literally being courted by both sides, because they each want him to be the hero again, right? But the last time he did this, it set the stage for this in the first place, and there was personal fallout for him because people don't like a celebrity once they're no longer doing anything amazing. And so so through the entire series, they're trying to get him involved. Everyone's trying to get him involved in some way. And he it's only at the last minute when he finally finds a reason to do it, he's willing to literally sacrifice whatever remaining dignity he has to go and save the only person who's given a damn about him in 10 years, which is the resurrected Demon Lord. That's the only reason he actually goes to do it. It's not for the petty bickering of kingdoms. It's not for, any political gain or any popular notoriety. It's to stop his friends from fighting and to save the Demon Lord. And that's it. And I think that's a really, you see this guy who has fallen to nothing, who is hesitant to ever use his amazing, awesome power again. And he finally does it. He's like, now's the time. Now I have a reason. And it's such a good moment. He doesn't really die in the process, but it's only nearly. Yeah.
It comes with that.
One thing that I think really exemplifies this is how much of... you're saying how the society sort of doesn't care about him anymore and things. I think the big thing is society chewed him up and spat him back out.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the fact that he was caught enjoying the spoils of war, so to speak, but then proceeding to just get hounded, right? He hounded by the paparazzi, in one of the early episodes, he's caught out by the fact that one of the demons who gets a bit too drunk ends up chasing him around. Now the thing is, she's chasing him, but she's stark naked, and he's he's just trying to get away, sort of thing. But he's getting the
it's his fault somehow
for it.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that while still being, he's been royally chewed out by society and things, just used up and whatever, to then still get up and do the right thing. Yeah.
You also see some small heroic moments, where he's hanging out with these kids who have no one else, and so he's he's playing with them, but he's holding back his power so that he doesn't show off too much. He wants the kids to feel special. So you see this softer side of him as well. This yeah. It's really good. Okay. Yeah,
that's fair. Move on to
good choice. All right, I'm going to get into the other classic shonen on my list, which is One Piece. And they call this the Nothing Happened event.
Okay.
So One Piece, it's a world of crazy pirates and wacky powers. But the team is coming up in the ranks. And this happened after fighting one of the 7 warlords of the sea, called Gecko Moria, out on the ship Thriller Bark. And the entire team is exhausted. Moria is one of the weakest of the warlords. But that still puts him like an impressive level above what they should be able to do in terms of their current state of affairs. And zombies, there's a zombie giant, and it's all sorts of shenanigans happen. So they're exhausted. Luffy is passed out and hungry. And right as they're celebrating their victory, another warlord of the sea shows up. One Bartholomew Kuma. And he has the devil fruit power of the Paw, which gives him the power to push and pull things. And this could be people, projectiles, or even concepts like pain. And this becomes relevant because he starts to, everybody reacts badly to him showing up, and so a fight breaks out. And he completely demolishes the exhausted Straw Hats. And Zoro takes a moment for the team. He's wait, stop. My captain's unconscious, my crew is here. I am the first mate. I am responsible for this. Take me, spare them. And Kuma is basically, he's not even there to really kill them. He's there to defeat them or test them to see if they're actually worthy. And he breaks a deal with Zoro. He says, if you want me to spare them, then you'll have to pass this test. He pushes all the pain and exhaustion out of the collapsed Luffy into a giant pink orb in the air. He says, if you can take all of this pain at once, I will spare your crew. And just to make it clear, he even flicks a ball, about, little child's ball size lump of pain at Zoro to show him what it's like. And the One Piece animators don't skimp on this. He has a seizure of pain that looks like half a dozen explosions are going off inside him. It's that painful. And Zoro's not got powers. He's a swordsman. All he's got is guts. But after he feels that pain, he doesn't say a word. Instead, he steps up and pushes himself into the orb of pain. And the moment cuts, fades to black. And what we next see is the rest of the crew waking up, completely unharmed. Everybody's getting back up. And Sanji, of course, Zoro's rival on the crew, notices that Zoro isn't there. And immediately he goes, wait, shit, where's he gone? Searches around the ruins of Thriller Bark and finds Zoro just standing, with his arms crossed and his eyes shadowed, in a splatter of blood, with blood dripping down his face and body. And immediately Sanji's like, what? Where's Kuma? What happens? You were awake. Tell me what was going on. And Zoro, who would normally brag to Sanji about how good he did about standing up to someone like Kuma, just says, nothing happened. And to this day, the crew does not know that Zoro did that for them. They were all unconscious. They were all beaten out to death. Nobody knows that Zoro made this sacrifice for them, that he experienced all of the pain that Luffy felt for an entire fight against a war of the sea in one go in order to save them. And his response is, the bit that got me, is that this show would always make some kind of comedic twist. They would make, just like Bleach did, they would give you a moment of comedy. So they break from that. It's one of the few scenes in One Piece that's allowed to sit and just be that moment with no dramatic twist to it, no straw man, no straight man, funny man act, no, comedy jump scare in it. They just let this moment stand until Chopper gets there to start bandaging him up. They just have this one man who stood against a warlord and survived.
I'm not gonna lie, this sounds fucking epic.
Yeah.
He is... Zoro in that moment was monolithic.
It's like Gethsemane without anyone writing it down for,
I have no idea what that means.
It's another religious reference. Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane taking on the sins of the world and bleeding from every pore or something. Sounds a lot like that, but without anyone writing it down.
Yeah. So it seriously impressed me, and it showed off this character. He doesn't have powers. He doesn't have devil fruit abilities. He is just a swordsman who is really determined to be the best and also to protect his crew. He knows his crew can protect themselves most of the time, but when they can't, he steps up.
So, from your delivery of this, I'm just going to... So, the audience knows what's happened, but
yes,
none of the crew does.
No. And he never tells them.
Right. And... what's it called? Does the audience ever get like any insight as to why he doesn't tell them, or is it down entirely to interpretation?
As far as we can tell, it's down to interpretation, but it's probably more like that he is standing there silently because he's in too much pain to move. Even sitting down would hurt him too much, so he only says nothing happened because he can't say anything else.
Well,
he's in that much pain. But
I haven't watched One Piece.
Still comes off.
How likely is he to ask for help from others? Like, is he the type that stoically just tries to do it himself?
He would usually stoically try to do things himself. That's his thing.
Might be part of it too.
After the fact, up until this point, he has always bragged.
Yeah,
there's always been a joke. There has always been a bit where he needles Sanji about not having that Sanji didn't do it, or that Usopp will come and go and go, oh, that was amazing, you're the best, or something.
Right? Okay.
Somebody would give him credit, or somebody would be the comedy relief. That moment was allowed to stand on its own.
So, do they go back to Old Hat in later episodes, or do they continue down the whole no, this has changed Zoro?
Well, that's the thing. It's emblematic of who Zoro is.
Right.
Zoro is still stoic after this, and the rest of the team he'll brag to them or get on Sanji's nerves, or claim they're all being idiots and walk off when they're being too stupid. But the fact that it's happened, I think it even comes back when they meet Kuma again in a later episode, where he nearly freezes up because of what happened last time, and even then he still goes after Kuma. Sorry for the engine noise. He still goes after Kuma even after what Kuma did for him. But again, it's very few people understand Zoro as a character, and this scene is what shows who he is.
Okay, that does sound awesome. Should we move on to the next one? Cool, right.
Hit us with it.
So, I'm actually going to go for Gundam 00, right? So, Mobile Suit Gundam 00. A few years old now, or several years old. And the character that I want to highlight is one of the Gundam pilots called Lock-on Stratos. Right? And this is, if I was going to title this is a soldier's duty, right? Sort of thing. So the whole setting of Gundam 00 is effectively there are newfound regions across the Earth. So we still have Earth as is with all the continents and everything, but the continents have changed factions and things like this. So you have the United Kingdom of America and things like that, and so it's really heavily changed the political landscape that is Earth, right? And
so I knew we'd get them back.
Actually, no. I don't know what we do. I think the UK becomes part of some federation where Russia and Europe become one as well. It's crazy, honestly. But the whole point is that war never changes, right? And wars changed. No, but the whole point is that war's never changing. You know, each faction are always trying to develop new weapons for oppression in countries that are going to be victimized, right? The whole point of the Gundams in 00 is to basically say, look, we have the superior technology, right? Fucking pack it in, or we'll pack it in for you, and you won't like it, right? So the Gundams are basically terrorists, right? They will go around, they'll attack key military outposts and locations just to prevent further conflict, and they will eradicate it. Yeah, they won't, just slap someone on the wrist. They'll just go like, oh, you see this military base that you're prepping to go bomb this other military base over here? Well, we've wiped out both military bases, so have fun, right? Now, later on, you find out more about the actual characters themselves, the Gundam Meisters, or basically the pilots of the series, and the pilot of Gundam Exia is effectively he's a kid, right? His name is Setsuna Afseye, and he used to be a child soldier. He used to be in the front lines of a made-up country, something Menistan, and it just, but he was a child soldier and eventually became a Gundam Meister. The pilot of Dynamis, which is displayed here, is a guy that's called Neil Delandy, who was part of the Irish terrorist organization. I can't remember what the fuck they were called. But again, he ends up becoming part of Celestial Being, this terrorist organization with the Gundams. And, basically he is much older than Setsuna, and he sees Setsuna as like a kid brother, right? Now, later on in the series, they discover that the guy that basically brutally trained Setsuna, love the siren, please continue. What is with all the sirens today? Anyway, so the guy that basically brutally trains Setsuna ends up stealing a Gundam for himself, right? And he gets up to all sorts of shenanigans and things like this, and he ends up taking on Lock-On. He takes on the Dynamis Gundam and ends up critically wounding Lock-On, who I think I've said, in case I haven't said, Lock-On Stratos is the codename for Neil Delandy, who's the pilot of the Dynamis. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. But anyway, so Lock-On ends up taking a blow to the eye, and he's a sniper, and he's just lost his sniping eye. And, so he starts to feel ill-equipped to actually perform his duties. So he ends up going out and he ends up trying to prevent some disastrous event. He ends up fighting the guy that, brutally trained Setsuna. Setsuna starts having like horrible flashes whenever he hears the voice of his abuser. And, so Neil wants to protect him. And while being critically injured, he does what he can. Dynamis is all but destroyed, right? And this other guy, he's flying around in the Gundam that he's got, and Neil basically gets his targeting system, which you may have seen a moment ago, is like that giant sort of like barrel inside the cockpit of the Gundam. He detaches that, he goes out into space, finds a floating artillery gun that's basically, the remnant of like a frame that goes around his Gundam. He hooks it up to that, uses Dynamis as a decoy, and then as soon as he can, he ends up shooting the abuser, but ends up dying himself. He ends up sacrificing himself just to get rid of this arsehole, right? This terrorist himself. And to me, it's like...
Sorry, he died himself. How did he die? Is it an explosion on the device, or...?
Yeah, so basically, they kind of both shot at the same time. Lock-on's shot destroys the Gundam and the guy inside it, but the shot from the other guy ends up destroying the cannon that Lock-on is stood on top of. So they both die, but he ends up dying, and just within sort of like arm's reach of Setsuna, who has he's got his arms out. He's in Exia. He's trying to get to Neil, and he just can't get there in time. And worst of all, they end up they find the Dynamis Gundam as it's adrift in space. Celestial being find it, and there's a little Harrow, right? So Harrow are the little round orb robots that you see across like all Gundam series, right? And it's used to help him do all the targeting and stuff, like manage Dynamis while he's doing the sniping side of things. And as Dynamis is slowly getting closer and closer to Celestial Being's carrier, right? They're able to open comms, and they think, yes, excellent, we found Lock-on, we're able to get there in time, so on and so forth. And all they can hear is the little Harrow just going Lock-on, 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 and it just sinks into them that Lock-on's not there, and he's actually sacrificed himself. And it's just like, holy fucking shit. Yeah. But it's kind of like the soldier's duty, because that is what that's what he was there for. That's what he was trained to do. But it doesn't make it less impactful.
Every soldier's ready to make that sacrifice, but no soldier wants to, and no one else thinks it'll be them.
Well, not just that, but people see it from an outside perspective. Yeah, people from an outside perspective, it's like, well, that's what a soldier's supposed to do. It's like, but when you know them, they're not a soldier, they're not a pawn, they're a person. Yeah, and that's that gravity.
I'm seeing the pattern in your moments you've chosen. It's I know the end is coming, and I'm going to take the shot anyway.
Kind of. My last one's not the same, but
okay. Yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
Nasuth, what have you got for us next?
I guess mine kind of also have a theme. It's kinda, except I guess Shield Hero really didn't fit into one. But let's do Mieroku-chan. So this is actually one I probably should have rewatched, and I am kind of tempted to rewatch it because I remember it being really fun. But I do remember the basic, the moment pretty well. So in Mieroku-chan, for everyone else's benefit, there's the black-haired girl here, who can see ghosts, and I mean the ghosts are all like ghosts and spirits, because I don't think they're all just ghosts. Anyway, they're all like really, really weird and creepy things. There's also a couple of good things, but I won't get into that.
They are the nightmare kind of thing.
Yes, very, very but she's the only one who can see them. And essentially all she can think to do is not react, because all the ghosts seem to want to be to have done is to be recognized, to be seen. And so she thinks if she just acts like everyone else and she doesn't see them, they'll leave her alone the way they seem to leave everyone else alone. But there you go. There's a good example of so that little ghost is crawling into the mouth of a bigger ghost because it seems to want to get eaten. Maybe it's very weird. But this isn't true for her friend, her best friend, which is the blonde-haired girl that was with her in the earlier picture. This person seems to have like a golden aura around them. and it shows in her personality, right? She's always really upbeat. She's always super cheery. Nothing ever seems to really go wrong for her. She's a ditz, but like she never really seems to get really injured or anything. And ghosts seem to follow her around because they want that energy. They want to essentially feed off of her.
The golden energy.
The golden energy, yes. Yeah. And so there's a point where she I don't remember exactly, this is where I probably should have watched it, but I don't remember exactly how she ends up in a building that is known to be haunted. And Miko's the black-haired girl, is outside, finds out about it, and is like, wait, but if there are actual ghosts there, how are they gonna, what's gonna happen to her? What can, and so knowing that she may have to out herself.
Sorry. What's going to happen to Golden Aura Girl?
Golden Aura Girl. Are the ghosts? Because so far, up until now, she's been able to kind of keep her safe, keep her away from being targeted too heavily. But now that she's away, now that she's in a building by herself, that's known 100% to be haunted. There's no protection. There's no safety net. There's some of these things look really creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't actually remember if at this point we've seen there's like a kitsune spirit at one point that does actually interact with the real world. So we have seen that these things can actually do damage too. So it's not just an empty threat. And she knows that if she goes there, it might seem like she can see them and they might pick up on that and they might start targeting her next, but she goes anyway because this is her best friend and she's the only one who can do anything, and she's just a normal girl. She doesn't have any special powers aside from seeing ghosts. She doesn't have the ability to control them or stop them or anything like that. She just sees them. But she's willing to go in there anyway and put herself on the line in order to save this person who clearly has something really special about her. And
something that Mako feels she lacks as well.
Yes, yeah. That turns out to not be the case. She actually does have something special about her, but she doesn't know that at this point. And it's just such. She doesn't have any special. She's just a normal girl. She's not trained for any of this. She's just a normal girl, and she's willing to go put herself in harm's way to save somebody else.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's such a good aspiring moment
for a true friend.
Yeah.
That is a good moment. That shows all about who she is as a person, what she'll go through, and what she feels that a friend deserves as well. It shows what she really wants from other people. She would want that if she went in somewhere like that, she'd want somebody to pull her back out as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really good moment.
I really need to read. I'm really sad there's been no announcements of a season 2 for this, because it is man, it's actually really good. I need to go rewatch it. I believe there's also an English dub, so there you go.
Just so creepy.
It
really is.
It's very. You know how Japan is about their ghosts. It's very leans very heavily into that sort of mythology. And that level of creepiness too. Yeah.
So, for me, I'm going to go from the creepy to the ridiculous with Space Dandy. And this is space surfing. So, Space Dandy is a show from the same creators as Samurai Champloo, and before that, Cowboy Bebop. And it's out there.
Can I just check, right? Are we talking about the same author, right? Or are we talking about the same director?
I think it's possibly... Yeah, I think it's more like the director. It's the team. It's the animation team. So, it's a weird show. to be perfectly honest with you. Everything about the show makes it seem like it's episodic and at least halfway idiotic. There's some standout moments that make the episodes well worth the watch. A good one would be episode 5, A Merry Companion is a Wagon in Space, Baby, where a new character shows up and shows us just who Dandy can be when he tries, and is absolutely adorable as a character. But my moment comes from episode 6, which is called The War of Undies and Vests, Baby. The entire episode is ridiculous. It starts with Dandy and his companion Meow talking on their ship, which is called the Aloha Oi. And Meow points out that Dandy has a surfboard on the ship as a rocket board that's used for surfing space waves. And he calls him out on it because he doesn't ever seem to go surfing. But during this conversation, something goes a little bit wrong, and they get stranded on a planet that is war-torn and apocalyptic. The war's been going on so long, but there's only 2 combatants left. 2 very old men are left alive in this war. They have access to immense war machines and arsenals of missiles and things. And as the name of the episode suggests, the only thing that these 2 people know about the war anymore is that part of the fight, and therefore the only bit they can remember, is that they're arguing over whether it's better to wear vests without underwear or underwear without vests.
Oh, this is some Sunny Boy level shit.
It is strange. It is honestly the weirdest thing. But the episode culminates in Meow and Dandy making it worse, to the point where the old men just go ham and try to destroy their entire planet in the final push against each other. They just kind of egg it on by accident. And the planet's exploding. Meow and Dandy are racing up a mountain that's got an active cold air on it, lava coming everywhere. But the pilot robot, QT, can't bring the Aloha Oi in to pick them up because it's too dangerous. And he just said with a blank face, I can't do it. I'll remember you. Farewell.
Oh my god.
But then as he's about to fly off and leave them, the volcano they're climbing explodes and launches them, like a Jojo reference, up into the upper atmospheres. And QT thinks about it and launches the space surfboard at them. And Dandy leaps off the rock, trying to swim through the last bit of atmosphere to catch the board. And in true comedy fashion, Dandy, is wearing only his underpants, grabs onto this board, latches on, and then tries to get on top of it. But the second he's on the board, music kicks in. He starts glowing in the light of this exploding planet as he zips around and picks up Meow on the front of the board. And then surfs. He surfs these waves of debris flying off the planet on this rocket board. Proper surfing, like all those best montages you've seen of somebody surfing down huge waves in Hawaii, but done with space dust and stars as your background. And the entire thing, there's no more dialogue, no more comedy. It's genuinely just Meow, speechless, QT watching on from the ship as he dips and dives and then rides curlers of space dust away from the explosion of this planet. And when he's clear and the debris has fallen away, he looks back before turning into the solar light and zipping off with the ship into the distance. And that's how the episode ends, with just this one perfect moment of Dandy doing something that he was called out on not doing before. And there's no comment on it. The next episode moves on to something else. He saves the life of his crew member, and just in this mishmash of a show, it proves the overall point. It becomes a meta commentary on the show itself. That the show can be 99% ridiculous, but then turn around with these beautiful scenes that are so beautiful that you don't even care that it's Dandy's skinny, bony ass wearing only underpants as he surfs this thing, because he is glowing like a solar god, and the music is perfect, and the animation is smooth and beautiful, and it just completely carries that whole episode and leaves you feeling good for having watched it, and gets you to watch the rest of the show no matter how silly the show gets. The show, Space Dandy, the comedy is bizarre, the story doesn't make sense, but these moments that the team threw in are just, they make it better than people give it credit for.
I kind of get where you're coming from. At the same time, I think that the emphasis of those moments are massively undercut by the simple fact of how ridiculous the rest of the show is. Like, I remember the bits that you're talking about, but the rest of it, like, it's just like, I can't remember what the fuck happens. Right?
No, that's the thing. You don't. Space Dandy is an experience in how weird you can get a show to be.
Yeah. And
yet make it incredibly entertaining while you're watching it. You don't have to remember it, but that's what this episode is. This episode, as I say, it feels like a meta breakdown of what the entire show is.
I think, like, one thing to add to what you're saying is that, you know, Dandy is often seen as like a horrific sleazeball, like, you know, just a generic, you know, piece of shit, right?
Yes.
But I mean, the whole crew is like the three of them.
Yeah.
But the big thing with him is that, like, yeah, okay, he has his weird sexual fetishes and what have you, but like moments like these just like kind of just removes him from his own identity.
In a sense, I think that's where you're having a different feeling from this than I am, because for me, Dandy shows that he can be capable.
That's what I mean.
He can be, and I think it makes me feel like the entire show is him being his lowest self, because he doesn't have cause, he doesn't have a drive, and the whole show is him not having a drive, but he has the skill and the ability should the opportunity present itself. So he gets into gunfights, he gets into emotional conflicts, he gets into dire straits and gets himself out of them, mostly.
But
I think one episode has him actually die, but
but I think the difference here is the fact that he does this stuff out of survival, right? But he does it elegantly, and yeah, I see where you're coming from. It is definitely one to ponder.
Yes. This is the episode that makes you think about the show as a whole, because 99% ridiculous, one beautiful scene. And that's repeated over many, many episodes. And so, you know, episode 5 is one beautiful episode out of the season. It just, it really does show who this character should be and makes the comedy parts all the more bizarre and ridiculous for it. So that's why, again, it's a heroic scene, but it shows off what the show is.
Right, should we move on to my last one then?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool, right. Well, my last one is Goblin Slayer. It's very much the unsung hero. It's the person that does the job that everyone thinks is beneath them, right? It's a case of taking whatever work they have in front of them seriously, which is something that, you know, a lot of the time, you know, as part of my occupation, the fact that I'm doing stuff, behind the scenes. I'm trying to get things working in such a way that, as far as a lot of my colleagues are concerned, it's just working. It's just working. But yeah, do you have any idea what it took to get working, right? And I feel that is a big crucial part about Goblin Slayer himself, right? He doesn't need to play the sacrifice card. He doesn't need to.
We don't need to be constantly hearing about his tragic backstory.
Exactly, right? His tragic backstory has made him who he is today, but he is out to do a job, and as shallow as it sounds, it is to slay goblin. But if it's basically pest control, right? If you have
other people count it as that.
Yeah, exactly. And they look down upon.
I'd say that's how everyone else views it as is pest control.
Yeah.
But the reality is that it's not. And he seems to be the only one who cares about that or knows about that.
The end of the last season showed that, didn't it? With the fight at the farm.
Yeah.
Is that they had to get other top tier adventurers out there to fight the goblin lords and things that arrived, the orcs and things that evolved from goblins that didn't get exterminated.
I think you mean the hobgoblins.
Yeah, hobgoblins and things, and the shaman and the others. These ones that got smarter for having survived failed extermination attempts that he would not have failed. And they showed that, no, this is a threat. He was right. So if he doesn't cut the grass, it grows into poisonous weeds.
Huh. But you're right that everyone else just sees it as pest control.
Yeah. They don't take it seriously. And one of my favorite things about the very fight that Thaylien brought up is the fact that, so he himself is paying for the quest. All his gold is going into financing the rewards. And the joke is that, they'll pay out for basically all the goblins that everyone kills. So if you kill 20 goblins, you get 20 gold. But hobgoblins are priced the same as regular goblins.
Yeah.
So where you have two of the best adventurers spend the entire time fighting one hobgoblin each, and they only get 1 gold from it. It's just like, what? It's you killed one. That's
a Legolas and Gimli thing. Kills the Oliphant. That still only cuts us 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still the fact that he will do this task that everyone else sees as beneath them, right? And that is why I feel that he has these heroic moments. I mean, fuck the whole you can look at any one of them, right? Any one instance of his fights, like fighting the troll with the water scroll, which I think is fucking fantastic. Fighting the beholder with the bag of flour. FYI, remembering what happens during Goblin Slayer Abridged makes this really easy to remember what actually happens in the actual series. It just his crazy tactics, right? They are
they're crazy, but they seem crazy, but they're actually very practical. And but the fact that he knows,
also defining of him.
Yes, he's clever. He's it's almost MacGyver-esque, but actually real and not. I have a rubber band and a piece of chewing gum, and now I'm going to save a nuclear reactor. It's actual that and not fake that. People don't think that flour is flammable, but he knows that. He's aware of that.
Yeah.
But it's only flammable when you explode it into the air as dust. Yes. Yeah. So what really makes me like it is that you see some of his prep. Yeah. So you see him go to the sorceress and ask for some more portal scrolls.
But you don't know where they're linked to. And
you don't know where they're linked to or why he would even want them. And so when he reveals it, you see how fucking clever he is. Because who else in that world would have thought of that? Certainly not the enemies.
And I think this is the big thing, is the fact that within the realm of whatever the setting is for Goblin Slayer, you have your traditional adventurers, but they're used to fighting a variety of different things, yeah. But they're not adept at an enemy that's continuously growing at the same rate as people,
and who comes out in ways and has instinctive ways of behaving that are cleverer than some people. Like we see it in one of the early episodes where he walks down and shows that the totem that marks the start of their territory, shows that the cave goes on to the right, but what they don't see is that there's actually a concealed bit of cave that goes to the left, back the other way and down.
Yeah,
it's a distraction, and goblins see that. So, which out of these things, which of the ones would you say is his most heroic moment?
So we've technically not had it in the anime, right? It's kind of in the movie, but it's also like in the manga, where basically he's having to fight. Was it the Goblin Champion? Or was it Goblin Paladin? I can't remember which. And basically, it's like this super powerful goblin, and he's basically having to fight it up a mountainside because there's no alternative, and he ends up having to use like an avalanche to kind of kill it.
To defeat it, at least, yeah.
He definitely kills it, but the idea is that he has to basically put himself at such high risk in order to actually succeed. So
that's the thing. He's not afraid to put himself at risk to get the job done.
Yep.
The job comes first. And that kind of dedication, good choice.
Okay. Somebody's gonna end up dead, and it's gonna be a goblin.
Okay, so where are you gonna go? As your last one, Nasuth?
Yep. So I want
to know where the fuck you're going with this one.
Oh, it actually happens really early on. This one is called Instant Karma. And it's so at this point in the series, Kazuma has died, and he is given the opportunity to go to another world. And he can take this is actually just a really quick one. It's honestly kind of silly. He's given a chance to take one thing with him, anything he wants, and he's been faced with this absolutely prissy. Just turbo, not really a Karen, but how would you describe Aqua?
Selfish, bratty.
Selfish, bratty. Yeah. That's a good way, yeah. And
a bit of a bitch.
Yeah. And so he can take anything he wants with him, and he's like, fuck it, she deserves it. She's been doing some terrible things. Just as far as I've seen her, I can only imagine what she's been doing to this world as their god, and so he takes her with him, and that's instant karma. She deserves it. He's a hero. He is the hero that the afterlife needed in order to get rid of this useless goddess who was fucking everyone over.
Yes, but
I mean,
I'm not wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Wrong.
I can't help but note this is the best version of Amigami-sama, where you can wish for anything. Oh yeah, I wish for you to be my girlfriend, and and she has to say yes. But it's the it is you can take anything with you. I choose you. So wait, no.
Yeah. And just like I mean, I know there are some actual heroic moments in here, right? There's Kazuma fighting the giant slime. There's Kazuma taking out the mobile destroyer tank or fortress, even though, I mean, we know that he can be revived, right? But he doesn't I don't think he's not even sure he can be revived from that.
He doesn't like it. Definitely doesn't enjoy it.
Yeah, and again, he might not be able to be revived from that. And so,
Indeed.
Kazuma does actually have heroic tendencies, but let's face it, that's his defining moment. That is the instant karma.
You're right, but I'd probably say out of all of them, it's where he becomes, I can't remember her name's weakness in the movie.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh.
That's like, I think that's his most heroic he'll ever be. But
it's probably either that or the slime, I'd say. But with the slime, he kind of knows he's coming back. So
yeah.
Oh dear. But
with the other one,
with the weak point,
like,
he does
gonna hurt.
Yeah.
This is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, but still.
Right.
just a nice, quick, silly one.
Okay, go on then.
And I think my last one is I think this one we can all agree on. Okay. Handyman Saitou and the Demon Pillar. So I know that we on the cast have a special place in our hearts for an isekai where the person does not gain ridiculous power and just finds their place for being who they are. And in episode 6, the build-up of the scene is the summoning of an enemy called the Demon Pillar. And it's summoned by the companions of the ninja, a character trying to save the love of his life. The tragic sacrifice creates an enemy that none of our heroes can defeat, until Saitou tells Morlock to use the magic that stops time, which he only knows about from reading a diary, basically. When he tells him this, we get the entire backstory of how Morlock lost his memories, how he's so forgetful now, and the tragedy he went through to get here. And it builds the scene that I've selected, with the Demon Pillar holding the adventurers at bay, desperately shielding against its laser attacks, and none of them are able to counterattack, and they're all losing their defenses too quickly. So Saitou tells Morlock to use the Moment of Solitude spell, freezing time and allowing Morlock to use an attack magic on the pillar's eyes while they're still open. Morlock, though, knows he forgets things, and knows he forgets spells. He knows he may even forget what he's doing. So, with the companions trying to distract the monster, Saitou talks Morlock through the spell he has forgotten, and the adventurers try to keep each other alive. Even Saitou pulls out a shield and blocks one of the attacks that gets through. And when time finally freezes, Morlock was right. He forgets what he's doing, and why people around him aren't moving, and he's all alone in the frozen moment. And that's where episode 6 ends. The scene itself is in episode 7, so we get this break. If you've been watching it episodically week by week, that's a hell of a cliffhanger. But in episode 7, we get an actual 100-second countdown that is accurate. There's no fudging the numbers. It's actually 100 seconds of screen time. Even when we see a flashback, Morlock actually gets close enough to the Demon Pillar to get a bit of magical feedback, and he sees the memories of the ninja and the demons that are helping him, sees their situation. That's counted in real time as well. So when you come out of it, you've only got 15 seconds left. Okay. But it's in the moment where time stops that Saitou's true value to this team comes into effect, because he wrote the instructions on Morlock's hand. So when Morlock, basically, he sees everyone's frozen. He wants to know why everyone's frozen. So he raises his hand to call out to Saitou and goes, wait, what? Looks at his hand, and it has the instructions of attack the eyes with magic. So Morlock remembers what he's doing, and he's able to use a spell that he remembers to both raise his attack and hit with a reliable spell that will actually destroy the Demon Pillar. And the aftermath is dramatic, because when Morlock sees the memories of the demons that sacrifice themselves to become the Demon Pillar, he pulls back. He uses cancel magic so that he uses just enough power to break the pillar but not kill the people that summoned it. And the magical backlash actually blows his arm off. And even then he gets them to heal the injured, even their enemies, before they get him to heal himself. And he explains, why he's doing that. That, as the smoke's clearing, his cape's flapping dramatically, is a truly badass moment from Morlock. Right? But it's that moment of real time ticking down accurately. Morlock not remembering a thing, but the preparation of Saitou.
It's so rare that you get an actual ticking clock. It's so crazy.
It's saved because of one simple handyman with his memory for spells and a Sharpie. And that shows who Saitou is and who all of these people are. They have one moment with all of the characters using all their skills at the time to stay alive. And then Saitou comes up with the solution and a way to ensure the solution works. Both Saitou and Morlock as heroes in this moment, and all of their friends around them. This is a scene that shows us what is great about this show. Overall, everything comes together, from Saitou's own contributions to this team, to Morlock's magic, to Lafanpan's healing and shielding, and even Ryalza's ability to tank damage. It all comes together, and this one scene truly shows that you don't have to be a fucking overpowered isekai protagonist to make a difference in the world. You just have to be the right person for the job.
No, I can appreciate that one. Cool.
Tell that to Eriperetta.
I think we were going to talk about, how we would conclude all of this. To me, a hero or a heroic moment is done.
Me interrupting you.
Yeah.
Done by, I suppose, someone like anyone. It doesn't have to be someone that's overly OP. It doesn't have to be someone that's overpowered. It's a sacrifice that is made
without expecting something in return.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right? A heroic moment is not like I punch good, therefore thing explode, right? That just takes time, effort, and training, right?
Yes.
Anyone can fucking do that. Leaping in front of a moving vehicle to try and prevent someone from getting hit by a car. Yeah, anyone can do that, but does anyone do
tendencies.
it? Yeah.
It shows heroic tendencies, and that's why they think that this is something that can get you isekai'd, because it's self-sacrifice that can be very powerful. But that's not... That's the beginning. Doing something for no return is the beginning. It's being able to carry through your ideals and yourself, being true to that, so that others can be better for it, leaving the world better than you came into it, or just leaving the moment better than when you came into it.
Do you have anything you want to add, Nasuth?
No, not really. No, that pretty much covers it.
Cool.
You're not got a verse for us?
No.
Oh my god.
No.
Right.
No more Bible.
So then, shall we move on with the rest of the show? Right. Okay then. So
Alrighty.
Now it is time for the supporter questions, if memory serves.
Indeed.
Right. I just bring them up because I was a twit and forgot to do. Oh, I can just read it. No, too late. Sorry.
Do it.
Right. So as Rugal says, before we start the supporter question, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for listening to our podcast so far. We really appreciate all the likes and comments everyone leaves on these episodes. Rugal also says, why does YouTube hate Kanpai Cast lately? YouTube hates this is the unfortunate side effect of the algorithm. The algorithm sucks, right? In all honesty, thanks to us not being able to properly advertise Kanpai Cast on platforms like Twitter anymore, because we now have to basically start that community again. And God, YouTube only likes popular things. If it's not popular, they don't care. Right.
Yeah, even hashtags
So
won't solve it.
Yeah.
We checked.
So true.
We did check.
Eminence. Yeah, I mean, like, there's all these fan theories about like what will improve it, what won't improve it, and it's impossible. It's just absolutely fucking impossible to tell what will.
I don't think YouTube even knows.
No, I think the only thing that can really make a difference is people going like, "Hey, you check out this episode of this podcast," or just basically people sharing it around.
Absolute grassroots sharing. Get out there, post us to people that might like us. Even if they don't, having one extra view really does help.
Yep. And comments.
So, Eminence in Nasuth asks, has anyone really been Planet Namek even as decided to go Super Saiyan, even go what to do look more like Goku? ?
Indeed. Very wise words. Very.
No.
James Non's having a strong call of ondulance.
Yeah. Right. However, Carbon Knight asks, hey Nasuth, are you okay there? Did you just wake up really tired and thought of that question, or are you having a stroke?
Both.
It is actually an old internet like copy pasta. That's awful. It's
Right, so let's move on to the comments from last week. First of all, the news. Stromus Shell says news, along with everyone else. Xeno, sitting like that isn't good for your back. Well, I was only doing it for a few seconds, but I mean...
He was committed to the bit. And we ruined it for him. We did. We ruined it for him on purpose.
Right, so now Amazon Prime is going to have ads too. That's terrible, frankly. Yeah, I'm just like... I didn't know there was a live action of Alice in Borderland, let alone a third season. First season's really good. Second season's like, what? God knows what the third season's going to be. Done by the same person that wrote Zon 100. Just saying. It's been cool years. So it's been years since I've played a tactics game, but the Goblin Slayer game could be cool. Thanks for the news. So then Zrugel says news. Yep. News. Are we not going to talk about the cat on Thaylien's head? What cat?
What cat on Thaylien's head? What?
What cat?
Amazon Prime. How you circle the drain. So true. Another Scott Pilgrim something or other. I think I'll skip this one too. I'll probably try and give it a go. A Gidley-themed matchmaking event sounds oddly interesting. Yeah. I think it'd be good. I think it'd be good. Sorry, I think I'd be a good Yukichi as well. I don't know what that story was.
It's the comment that I'm Yukichi.
Okay, right. And then thanks for the news. Right. Okay. So moving on to Jesus Christ. Moving on to the cast's comments.
Zrugel, what?
Zrugel ran a small novel.
What?
Right, so Zrugel says, yes, I was watching. My unique skill makes me OP at even at level 1-2. It's a bit weird. It's not terrible, but I don't disagree with what Thaylien's rating of a poop. It's really contrived. It's kind of heartwarming, but that gets lost with the volume of shenanigans. I watched and followed Reborn as a vending machine. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but I enjoyed it. I started watching Am I Actually the Strongest 2, but I didn't keep up with it. Didn't hate it, but I found it kind of forgettable, literally. It does some interesting things, but the MC is so OP for my taste. When Thaylien is resting his head in Zenya's lab.
It's so the other demon in level 1 Demon Lord. Yeah.
Okay. During the Thaylien, never change.
I'll try not to.
I still intend to watch Hulk, so I'm gonna skip this chapter. Thanks for the chapters, guys.
You're welcome.
And last we have Mushoku Tensei. I was gonna wait until this was out and binge it, but I couldn't wait, and I watched it week to week. It's okay. I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it. I've got issues with it, but I can't deny it has real quality. I won't rant, but it's one of those shows where I was really annoyed with most of it, but I'm eagerly awaiting part 2. Mostly I feel like the show is wasting time, and he keeps focusing on things that aren't really important, especially considering how much power he has. I very much agree that the quality takes a hit because it changed gears so much. That was actually just a completely different staff. That's why the animation took quite a dive. I like slice of life stuff, but that's not what I want to see from
I don't think he meant
an action adventure show.
Yeah, I don't think he meant animation quality. I think he just meant quality in general.
Yeah,
Okay,
just the story.
I'd rate this episode a 5-star must watch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Strombus
so
Shell
much.
says, haha, I laugh at Nasuth annoying Xeno with near a tomato.
Near a tomato. Why hold a tomato next to you near a tomato?
Is it some sort of bias where the shows that you guys review are kind of good? I guess if they weren't good, you wouldn't keep watching and wouldn't have a closing opinion about them. I want to see you guys review more terrible anime and tear it to pieces. I guess that's what the mid-season episode is for. To be fair, though, I fucking tore goddamn Gene of AI to shreds when
And I rated my first show a poop this last time.
That's also true.
My first poop rating for a show.
Yeah,
I do kind of.
To be fair, though, most of last season was just mid.
Yeah, I do kind of plan to stick with one this season, even if it ends up. Yeah, even if it ends up being terrible. So there you go. Do you know how many memes we had this week for viewers? I don't remember.
I think
off the top of my head. Let me just. Okay, well there you go. Four memes.
Cool.
Shall we?
So these are all submitted to the. Sorry, you got there.
All our memes come from Reddit, various different subreddits, all linked in the description below, which may or may not have been deleted, which tends to happen with Reddit. And our supporter, the ones submitted by you guys, you can see those submitted from the Discord. So yeah, anyway.
Yep.
They should all be linked down below, so you can go to visit them in case the source hasn't been deleted yet. So,
right,
let's enjoy.
Let's go.
Right. So, when you set the alarm for 7 a.m., but you wake yourself up at 6:59. So this is the power of Ultra Instinct. Yeah.
True facts.
Focus your chakra on your feet.
Wow.
Like this.
I have never seen that. Okay, that's brilliant. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
What
the
fuck? What?
It's the burger.
Is that Saitou? No, who is that?
No, it's just. I think it's just random anime girl.
Anime girl.
They're forcing them. I have no idea. This is just hilarious.
Okay.
I don't know. This is weirdly hilarious. Okay, what is this?
I just finished today's workout sesh. Link below. Come on, Guts. Post a reply. You know you want to post damn with the water drop emoji. Maybe she'll respond back.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Show me the real Black Swordsman. Right. Manga readers trying not to spoil anything for 5 seconds, Xeno. No, I'm kidding.
What?
I feel this. I'm sorry. I try, okay?
The code I plan, the code I think I'm writing, the code I actually write.
Yep.
Oh, Xeno. Never change.
Yep.
Make the city anything other than round with a river or draw 25. Isekais obviously can't resist.
Yep. Every fucking isekai city looks like Ankh-Morpork.
Yep.
Yes.
Taking a stupid walk in stupid nature for my stupid mental health. That's what I look like too. Yep. No, this isn't Goku with a spirit bomb. It's a fly on a window. Dragonfly see.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
And my last one.
Hey there, adventurer. Can you help me purify this
Yep. Good. Good.
All right, on to Thaylien.
What's the bad news? Good news and bad news. Good news is your wife gave birth to a healthy boy. He's a shonen protagonist. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Brilliant.
Then I'll be crude too and say, "Oh, Rudy, how many do you want to put in me?" That girl has some issues. Kazuma, I did something. What did you do?
Oh my god! Wait, what's this art style?
Oh god,
Something useless.
Oh shit! Something. Oh, it's not Nagatoro. Fuck, that's the one that's stuck in my head. There's another one which is like someone teasing someone else. I have to fucking look it up anyway.
What did you do?
Yeah.
What horrible thing this
She never does anything. Breaking news. Sword Art Online players find they can escape by saying the N-word and getting auto-banned.
Oh my god.
So the first person to escape this way was a player with the username Asuna, who discovered it by accident while yelling at a merchant named Tiffany.
Oh my god.
I love the Sword Art Online abridged reference. Oh my god. Holy shit.
When you redraw an entire meme from scratch into a weeb-friendly format, but then share it to the masses for free. I serve the Soviet Union.
Oh my god. Brilliant.
It's too good of a pun.
Yep.
And
Finally.
his last one, which is a video.
Listen, you know, I dislike sexual assault as much as the next guy. That's some bad stuff. Rape, boo, don't like it. But
Oh my god.
Thaylien!
You can't not use that quote.
Good old
I
moist
really
critical.
hope that people were not listening to that at work with speakers on.
Some of this stuff at work with speakers on. We are horrible.
Well. Yeah. All right.
Or with
yeah.
family members. Right, so my first one. Right. My goal is to get 100 friends. My goal, forced, is to get 100 girlfriends. My goal is to get 100 sex friends. Apparently, it's not a hentai. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway.
I volunteer as tribute.
Weebs going to school. American weebs going to school.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
And then a video. So the joke being, my homies trying to stop themselves from making moaning sounds while I'm talking on the phone. Yeah.
Nasuth's trying to stop himself interrupting Xeno.
Yeah.
Breaking news! Japanese family found their kid watching anime in English dub.
Yes.
The horror.
Yeah. Everywhere I go, I see her face, which leads me on to my sixth meme.
Yep. 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 Yep.
I have been waiting
Yep.
for fucking weeks
Yep.
for a meme like of that quality with a video. This was the first one I found. This is why I wanted the fucking doc immediately.
Oh,
Yeah, there have been several attempts, but none as good as that one. That's for sure.
So good, so good. But
nice.
anyway, right. Next. Oh,
Wait,
we
what am I
got
doing?
rid of that section.
Ah.
Well, I don't know.
There we go.
Nothing. You're doing nothing. Right. But that is it for this week. Thank you very much for watching / listening. And now it's time to bottoms up and Kanpai. I'm not drinking this time. I'll get too much.